Okay.
Hello everyone, I'm Monica from Cybersecurity Center of Excellence. I welcome you all to CCoE Cyber Startup Showcase Series session on detecting and responding to edge and connected IT IoT devices security threats in real time. Let's get started with our first speaker of the day, Mr. Goparaju, Managing Director and CEO at AmberFlux EdgeAI. His expertise are managing and delivering large-scale telecom and enabled business transformations from strategy to technology, including operations, program leadership, organizational design, and change expertise. He is greatly skilled in leading multiple engagements, developing new and follow-on sales opportunities, thought leadership, managing diverse project teams, ideation, business development, and sales. I now welcome Mr. Murali Goparaju to take over the session. Welcome, sir.
Wonderful. Thank you, Monica, for such an excellent intro. Even I did not know that I had all those skills. Okay, very nice of you. I hope you guys can see my screen, and I can move to the next slide. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we put together a joint agenda between AmberFlux and AI EdgeLabs. So the first part of the session, like about approximately 20 minutes or so, I would talk about what is Edge AI and why it matters, what kind of security risks are there for the edge devices, and what kind of products that we bring to the table, in the Edge AI space. Not everything that we do is about security. There are some real practical utility products and all which are inbuilt security aspects in them. Then we also talk about what is our approach in securing the edge and IT IoT. Throughout this session, when I talk about edge, take it as edge includes IT and IoT devices as well, depending on the context. Once my presentation is over, then we move to Oleg, who is the CTO of AI EdgeLabs. He's currently based in Poland. It's a global organization spread across US, Poland, Ukraine, Croatia, various places. What he's going to talk about is that what is the edge from a customer point of view, especially their existing customers and their experiences. Then talk about network security on the edge, then how AI EdgeLabs, that is their products, addresses the challenges, for the customers, especially covering what kind of advanced network visibility is feasible with AI, then how to automate the incident response in real time, then what kind of remediations, you need to take and support in case of an attack or an event. Then also talk a little bit about the architecture and integration. Then he's going to run a brief demo, of the product. It's a recorded video, okay, of the demo. Then we are open for question and answers. So throughout the session, you can log in your questions. We take a look at them towards the end and try to answer as many as possible. So that's the agenda. So let me move to my presentation. Yeah. So we are a early stage company. We are just less than 2 years old, and we are based in Hyderabad, India. We are headquartered here, and we also have teams spread across India and US, okay, and a few other places on off and on basis. What we do is we enable AI on the edge on a small footprint devices and help in edge computing and AI safely and securely for enterprises, whether it is manufacturing, healthcare, or retail, or any other industry. We bring technology solutions which are combination of edge computing and AI capabilities. As I said, my name is Murali Goparaju, and I run this company, and we are based in Hyderabad. So this is our standard disclaimer. Basically, the contents of the presentation can change, and it's confidential, blah, blah, blah. I move to the next one. So let's talk about what is Edge AI and why it matters. Traditionally, if you look at it, AI systems had been like, those large big data processing systems, which are sitting on the cloud, doing a lot of number crunching, lot of models, and lot of images or text or any kind of data points, and crunching large numbers and coming out with some kind of analysis and okay, predictive or preventive, whatever, those kind of things. But people are realizing, okay, as they deploy these things onto the real field and real life business operations, they are realizing that the data is getting generated where the business is happening. Data, if you have to move it back to a backend data center, wherever it is very expensive, it is time consuming, and sometimes quite impractical, and sometimes even the regulations do not permit. So the organizations are looking at in terms of how can I process, leverage AI at the place where the data is getting generated. So this is what we call it as Edge AI. Edge AI is about enabling AI on the device or the equipment or near to the device that is generating the data. So right inside your, if you're an industrial a plant, inside your SCADA system, or right next to your SCADA system, or your production control systems, or your robotic arms, or anything like that, either inside or right near to that, with the help of AI, you are able to process the data. There are a few drivers for this. I mean, like, it's not that people did not know that doing it at the local site is easier, but earlier the surrounding technologies were not ready. But now they are. Like IoT is prevalent quite a bit, and 5G, especially the 5G LAN, okay, is becoming very, very popular, and several deployments have come up across the globe. They are driving the need for placing the compute, analytics, and storage closer to where the data is getting generated. So because of the proximity and the speed at which you can do the thing, the Edge AI speeds up your decision making. It makes the data processing more secure, improves the user experience, and lowers your cost because you're not transferring too much data to the backend. So there is a direct value that the Edge AI delivers to industries. When I say industries, it is any kind of enterprise, whether you are in the services or in the manufacturing side. This is great, but the edge devices themselves are prone to security threats, because what has happened is that, this is not like, you're like, if you are a manufacturer, you're not throwing out all your existing systems and bringing in all these nice and beautiful systems. You are actually have a mix of legacy. You have a mix of many kind of IoT devices, which are like first generation, second generation, whatever they are. They're not equipped to handle security. They're highly vulnerable to threats. Then you have your OT and IT conversions. The operational technologies and the information technologies are getting converged to enable the business. But at the same time, fraudsters are able to leverage these IT techniques to target the operational systems. So imagine a scenario where, let's say, if I'm a fraudster and you have a manufacturing plant manufacturing, let's say, pharmaceutical products, and you have your boilers running at, let's say, 1000 degrees Celsius. Now I take control of your boiler remotely and explode it. It is a major, major devastating effect, on the city, on the area. People die. A lot of things. It's not just about cyber fraud. It's not just about stealing somebody's money, but there is real massive terroristic activities that can happen. And these are now feasible because of the IT-OT conversions. The other thing is the legacy systems. They're connecting to OT, IT, and as well as to the IoT. IoT itself, some of them are legacy, some of them are modern, some of them are secure, some of them aren't. Then you have the legacy systems, which are running on old generation, probably things, quite a few manufacturing plants even have, systems, built in early 2000s or even before. This combination is a kind of a gold mine for the fraudsters. Now, if you look at the another complexity to the scenario is the heterogeneous systems. as your business has grown over a period of time, as a manufacturer or a producer of goods or services, you have been, purchasing systems from different vendors, different type of operating systems, different kinds of standards and things like that. Now, the interoperability is getting enabled as a top layer, and but at the once you break into the top layer, inside there is hardly any interoperability, there is hardly any adherence to standards. Everything is open like a football field. Adding to that, most of the industries, most of the service organizations, they are experts in their business. If you are a producer of goods, you are an expert in your goods. You are not an expert in cybersecurity. Lack of evolving business processes, lack of skills is a major thing. In fact, there are many occasions where companies have set up their cybersecurity via the internet, and they were very happy that what to do, even the documentation on what steps to take, if there is a cyber attack on the internet, or so that they can access it when there is a problem. And when really the cyber attack takes place, the fraudster actually put down the internet. So like, even though you are prepared everything, you have no clue what to do because nothing is available with you at the local level. So these are the real life problems and real issues, some of them due to technology, some of them due to legacy issues, some of them due to multi-vendors, and some of them due to the operational processes. So this is a practical issue. So in terms of what do we do in terms of this kind of a real market landscape, what's happening? As I said in the beginning, we bring in Edge AI. We have Edge AI solutions, to do many things, and we bring in, like, we have the capability on a low volume of data. We can analyze and enable some prediction, predictive analytics and things like that. Our technology is built in terms of grown within, as a company, we believed in doing something more innovative and deep than something shallow. So we've got our intellectual property protected by way of patents in US and India. We already have several of them granted, and a few more are in the pipeline and things like that. Is the philosophy and the construct with which we go. But in terms of what do we bring to the table, we bring Edge AI products. These are purpose specific Edge AI products that can be deployed and managed onto the edge devices securely. You can deploy them remotely, you can deploy them manually, you can deploy them automatically, whatever you can do, but you can bring in the AI capabilities to your edge infrastructure where the data is getting generated. And we also allow for integration with your existing IT and OT infrastructure. And we are platform agnostic. We are a software company. We support, so any kind of hardware, any kind of software is fine with us in terms of the third-party software. So we support multiple edge deployments. So if you have a mix of multiple network vendors, multiple 5G vendors, multiple LAN vendors, or your specialized networks or anything that you have, and you have your IoT devices, or even you have a special purpose system on chip hardware, we can provide Edge AI capabilities to them. In terms of the market recognition, as I said, like, we are a fairly young company, like, less than 2 years old. Consistently we have been, testing our things, from the market perspective. I'm not going to read all this, but in terms of in 2020, towards the end, we were rated as one of the finalists for the startup of the year by US Edge Computing Association. Then in April 21, STL Partners, one of a very specialized boutique consulting firm in the telecoms, has rated as one of the top companies to watch out for in 2021. Then towards September 2021, Cybersecurity Center of Excellence, that is the reason, why we are here today talking about, presenting our solutions to you guys, is because, we got selected by them for their incubation lab. Then towards the end of September in 2021, we got selected by the Hello Tomorrow Consortium in France, okay, as a deep tech pioneer. And quite recently, in April 2022, Telangana AI mission has selected us as a, a participant for their RevUp acceleration program. So we are currently going through that. In terms of the products, the specific products we have 3 product groups. One, we call it as AmberFlux Opus, other Concerto, the third one is Opus Dashboard. Opus is that technology, that software that runs on the devices and equipment. It is the AI piece that can sense, learn, and act at the edge. Most of our patents are centered around this. Most of our technology is centered around this. How the technology manifests to you as a user is completely different based on your business case. If you are somebody who is running a factory where you are monitoring your power electronics, power generation plants, it could be interacting with SCADA systems on the pure SCADA related information. At the same time, if you are a healthcare expert who is a doctor or somebody like that, this is the same technology that can actually analyze patient data for detecting any diseases. So diagnostic tools. So it's that versatile, and it has got different flavors, kind of a thing. But the core of it is it senses, it learns, and acts at the edge with the AI. The second bundle we have is a AmberFlux Concerto. This is the glue or the integration layer between the edge with the rest of the operating environment within your organization. Whether you are a one office, one facility or enterprise, or you are a very large conglomerate with multiple offices spread across, multiple production plants spread across, or service points spread across. Okay, you have your own IT infrastructure. Okay, we have the capability to integrate with your between the edge and the cloud containers and IT and OT systems, and provide for data and protocol transformations without you having to do too much work. So if you want to deploy, if you have your own AI engine and you want to leverage that AI engine's capabilities onto the edge, you can do that without having to rewrite a whole bunch of code. Or if you have a legacy system which you want to leverage the capabilities or the data of the legacy system to find some insights with the AI, you can do that as well. The Opus Dashboard is basically an orchestration and visualization software. Like if you have a huge deployment, which is distributed, okay, of your edge devices, like let's say you have multiple production plants, or even one plant has multiple robots or multiple drones, or even boilers, or as mundane as water motors or pumps or anything like that. Okay, you can actually deploy remotely. You can orchestrate the activities, you can visualize, and you can update, and you can operate the edge infrastructure comfortably. In terms of the security aspects, coming, because this is the cybersecurity conference. Okay, essentially, by now you would have guessed what we are talking about is mostly about industrial security. There is a industrial security standard IEC 62443. This is becoming very successful and very popular. And of course, there are also other things like Parsec for systems on chips and things like that. We do support these quality or standards, kind of a thing. In terms of like if you look at the IEC 62443, it obviously defines several layers and several rules. It's an organization adaptation of security. We do not do everything, but like if you look at the roles, here, there are asset owners, there are maintenance service providers, integration providers, and also the product suppliers. What we believe in is that when you are addressing industrial security, you need to address it in a comprehensive manner. for you to do a comprehensive manner, it is not good enough to hire a system integrator or a cybersecurity expert who can actually provide integration services and overlay monitoring services. The underlying products, underlying technologies need to be enabled with the industrial security. So that's where we can come in and we can support. So either at the component level or a control system level, we can bring in with our edge AI capabilities. In terms of the SOA based embedded edge, like if you look at it, this is the ARM standards. There is a what you call okay, Carstone 700 project, where the edge IoT devices, these are developing things. We are participating. We are also closely observing in terms of how we can contribute to this. But the gist of this is essentially what we are saying is we provide security at the application level. We provide the security at the component and equipment level. Beyond that is obviously you need a third-party provider to do that. So like how are we saying that we can do that? What kind of features that we bring to the table? We bring like within the Edge AI Opus platform, we can bring security at the system at chip level. Okay, assuming that the SoC hardware is compliant with the standards. Okay, we can easily roll out the security services, even for the enterprises that are low in security policy and procedures. It's not that necessary that every enterprise is like very well equipped and organized with their policies and procedures, but we can enable certain level of security at the base fundamental level. And we can do the support the anomaly and risk assessment with the behavioral analysis. And you can do that because of it's all edge based. You can do that with or without internet. So even if, let's say, your cyber fraudster has blocked your internet access, you can still operate. Okay, and of course, proactive and reactive threat perceptions, and you can do the real-time monitoring as well. Moving on to the Concerto security features. Okay, we bring in the legacy modern IT/OT integration, and we like if you have a security operations center, we can integrate that as well. So that if you are a very sophisticated player, okay, you can use AmberFlux Concerto to make your integration of your enterprise-wide security easy. And you get visibility into all connected devices. You get anomaly and risk assessments across groups. You can do the proactive and reactive threat perception, and you can obviously do the edge orchestration integrations. From the dashboard perspectives, you can get into the drill downs. You can get the visibility into each of the devices, how they are performing. And remember, we coming from edge AI, where we can monitor the temperature, pressure, heat, flow, all the physical parameters, and also the image related, like visual parameters, right? We can do that, and based on that, we can bring in security threat assessments, and orchestration rules and policies and controls and response controls can be done. So we provide the solution at the if you go back to the standards, we provide at the product supplier and the component and control systems level. So that's where we play in the cyber security space. So in terms of the features, these are like broad features, spread across multiple products. We can bring in the device visibility, anomaly and risk assessment, policy enforcement, proactive and reactive threat prevention, orchestration, and we also provide third-party integrations. So that from a deployment perspective, like, this is just a very superficial indicative deployment, like you may be having a telecom tower, you may be having a mobile phone, or your monitoring equipment is on a ship or a moving vehicle, or it could be as simple as your refrigerator at home or a washing machine at home, or as complex as an industrial robot. Okay, you can actually monitor, okay, from the Opus dashboard at the product level, management level, and enterprise level. So that brings to the end of my presentation, and thank you very much. And if you need more details, we are happy to connect with you guys and provide any help. I would now stop sharing this screen, and I would bring you um, to hand over the presentation to Oleg Mygrin, who is the CTO of AI EdgeLabs, and they are our business partners. Okay, we are working together to address the market and do a few things, good things together for the industry. Oleg, it's handing over to you.
Thank you, Murali, for introduction. Hi, all. And let me share my screen. And just when I'm sharing a couple of words about our company. So generally, the name of our company is Scalar. We founded in 2017, and we started like a fraud detection and prevention product for mobile industry. And our primary background is AI, big data, and cybersecurity fraud detection and prevention. So our company regularly recognized like industry leader in fraud detection for mobile ads. And actually in 2021, we started strengthening our portfolio to include cybersecurity products. And we launched new cybersecurity products, AI EdgeLabs. And it's based on AI, cybersecurity, and I mean, cybersecurity for network threats. And so today we're going to talk about edge computing security, how we're helping our clients to deal with cyber threats, and we'll talk about cyber AI. And at the last part, I will show you some demo, how it works in our product. It's kind of 5-minute video recording. Okay, let's start. Right now, the majority of companies are moving to the edge, and the main reasons to doing so are requirements with wide spectrum of OT, IoT connectivity, low latency for applications, like virtual reality, game streaming, and other important requirements preserving data privacy. For example, some sensitive data can be processed locally on place without exposing outside the network. And saving costs, very important when especially you process data on the edge and not to transfer it to the cloud somewhere outside, and not spend money for this transfer to the cloud. Here are some examples of edge deployments. For example, Verizon deploying multi-access edge in order to provide for clients ultra-low latency networks and services. With ultra-low latency, I mean like less than 5 milliseconds response for particular applications, which are sensitive for latency. For Rockwell Automation, for example, this company builds edge-based ecosystem to centralize control oil and gas equipment. They heavily rely on operational technology, OT and IoT. And this, alongside with previously mentioned benefits, there are broad landscape of the threats. And there are DDoS attacks, botnets, side channel attacks that directly affects communication channels, and variety of different authorization attacks that exists right now on the market. And this actually can lead to operational downtime and data loss and financial loss, of course. And according to IBM recent survey, they made it across 537 organizations, 17 countries, and 17 industries. So global average data breach costs is $4.2 million. And to help you understand how important edge security it is, that the company undergoing digital transformation. This like another like survey from AT&T companies, and this is the biggest concern for the edge for cybersecurity. Like you can see on this list, like top 3, like data security, access network security, and identity access management. That's the biggest threats. But the list actually is bigger. And considering the security concerns mentioned above, I will talk today in more details about the botnets, because what we see, this is actually the most common and dangerous attack on the edge. I mean, actually, IoT botnets. So IoT botnet is a network of devices that connected to the Internet of Things, typically routers, cameras, or some equipment that actually infected by malware and have fallen into control of malicious actors. Usually this point and control calls command and control server. This is like single point where you can control all the botnet and provide some attacks. These are typically, this kind of attacks are very harmful for enterprise special networks. They guarantee like different type of DDoS flood, ability to completely shut down operation. And like you see on this screen, there are 3 like the most like dangerous botnets that exist right now. Mirai is very popular. In 2016, it's generated biggest DDoS attack over the United States, and it was like targeted to the DNS port. And so right now, the estimation is around 500,000 devices infected by this botnet. Mozy botnet, it's kind of like one of the biggest botnets, and it also affects heavily the devices. And for rough estimation, right now it's more than 1.5 million devices infected with Mozy. And last one, HEH botnet, it's pretty new kind of botnet, which actually catastrophic for the particular device. For example, it's wiping partitions, and it can turn particular device to the brick and to make it completely unusable and unrepairable. For example, if this some partition just dropped on the particular hardware or device. And yeah, let's move forward. So we discussed security challenges on the edge, and now I'm going to tell you how we helping to solve them. So we created AI-powered platform that brings advanced visibility, threat detection, and automated incident response for this kind of attacks. So we're looking primarily on the network level attacks and protects against them. These are the platform security features. At high level, our system provides you with network visibility, threat analytics and detection, incident response, and remediation. And these are the list what kind of attack we prevent. So we prevent like different combination of hacking attacks, DDoS, botnets, malware, traffic detection, and different kind of network anomalies that actually could be like 0-day threats or 0-day attacks. Just to remind you, 0 days it's something unknown yet. This kind of attack like not revealed before. And let's move in more technical parts. So let me provide you with more technical aspects, how we detect threats with our platform and how we build detection pipelines. So at a high level, like we have a 2-layer of system. First layer, it's actually the edge, the software that can actually that runs on the edge. Second layer is backbone layer that exists in the cloud. For the edge layer, we use like different combination of traffic data extraction, feature preparation, we have deployed and compressed AI models with prevention stack and alert escalation. Backbone layer usually deploying to the cloud, and it's kind of central part of the system where we register incidents. There's a core API. We provide enrichment. There's a pretty big patterns knowledge base and dashboard, of course, for security operation team, because this product mostly for the security operation teams. And let's move to the next slide. And so with AI, we can automate. I will provide you details about our AI sensor. So this is actually the agent that holds AI models, and it extracts network-based data points and provides threat detection and modeling the prevention of the edge. Since we're running this sensor on the edge, there are strict technical requirements for implementation of this sensor. So generally, this piece of software implemented on Rust programming language, which is pretty effective, is similar to C++ in terms of performance, but at the same time more safe in terms of breaches and more convenient in terms of development. So what kind of requirements we have for this sensor? This sensor should have like very lightweight implementation. So we use Rust, we use ONNX model compressions. With ONNX, I mean AI models, which are compressed and deployed there. This sensor should be stable, should be ready for unstable connectivity. For example, work for a while offline. If some edge goes, I don't know, without connectivity, or there's a bad connectivity there. And so we use buffering and autonomous models on the place. And this sensor should have a very simple integration. So right now we support mostly Linux-based operating systems. And the most actually convenient way to deploy the sensor is through Kubernetes. But actually, like, we support like separate way to deploy it through the directly to operating system, probably with some container-based deployment like Docker Swarm and others. And last requirement, that this sensor should like be ready for unique traffic picture for the particular edge, because traffic is constantly changing, and we need to provide like better quality and with pretty low false positive rates. And this is like one more technical slide. So with AI, we can automate threat detection and provide higher level of precision. We also are able to detect zero-day attacks. For example, some hidden threats, we can use autoencoder networks in order to detect some very suspicious or hidden attempts to attack this cluster or this environment. On this side, our architecture, our model includes anomaly detection model, includes autoencoder, supervised block of MLP, multi-layer perceptron. And this architecture like is able to detect some new anomalies, and also additionally it was trained on the knowledge of existing anomalies that we saw in the industry. And according to this list, for data features, we use IP flows data that extracted in runtime. We use OS level metadata. For machine learning and AI, we use PyTorch, TensorFlow, and other conversion and compression to the more compact way to deploy it on the place. And like our biggest like value, what we see, it's reinforcement learning. So we use heavily reinforcement learning, especially DPLN. It's kind of, we call it human in loop techniques, where it's actually the way of learned algorithms that continuously adjust the traffic picture to have it more precise decision and to have it like to lower false positive rates. And this is like one more or less slide about our detection. So what we actually do, we analyze traffic and utilize couple of approaches for analyzing this networking. First approach is divide and conquer, where we actually prepare features to have a highest rate of performance in production. For example, we pre-calculate features based on IP flows, based on TCP/IP header data, and optimize them and prepare it for classification inside of machine learning. And second approach, like we use, is end-to-end approach, where neural network actually prepares the features automatically and decide what kind of features should be important and provide decision over this prepared features. The second approach is more like research part, because in some traffic pictures it's not super efficient in terms of performance. At the same time, we heavily rely on this second approach because it allows us to reveal new patterns and new threats and train additionally new threats for the system. And after giving you some technical aspects in our product, let me just to show you short demonstration how we do in terms of our platform. There's a 5-minute video with sound. Let me share it once again. Share screen. 1 second. I hope that you see my screen right now.
This video shows how EdgeLabs AI identifies and responds to different types of network attacks. EdgeLabs is an AI-based incident detection and remediation platform that protects your edge deployments by extending your visibility to threats and by preventing future ones. This picture shows the topology that our platform protects. It's deployed on-prem and is managed by a Kubernetes cluster. The cluster deploys EdgeLab sensors as a Kubernetes-based daemon set installation. If we log into the system and see that all the traffic is green, that means that there are no incidents registered in the recent hours. On the right side, you can see a list of the deployed agents. The green heat map covers the amount of bandwidth that comes onto the nodes and its historical picture. For example, if we look at the details of each node, we can see a full picture of the bandwidth that comes into or out of the edge device. For this detection example, we will look at Mira-based botnets. Mira is a malware that turns network devices running Linux into remotely controlled bots that can be used as part of a large-scale botnet attack. For the purpose of demonstration, we've prepared a Mira botnet on a set of machines and a command control server that will attack our infrastructure. Here you can see that we utilize the botnet server to run a denial of service or SYN flood attack on the 2 hosts in our edge cluster. This dashboard shows the attack direction from the botnet to our protected clusters. Our system immediately identified and escalated the incident. Our dashboard allows operators to dig into the incident with in-depth reporting to better understand the nature of the attack. You can then surface and mitigate the incident with the help of the IT team. In this next example, we're going to run a hidden stealth port scan with Nmap over the range of our IPs in order to reveal victim configuration services that are running on the remote machine. Port scanning usually happens before hacking attempts or other malware activities are inside the networks. When the platform identifies port scanning incidents, it immediately escalates the incident to the security operations team for further mitigation and investigation. In conclusion, EdgeLabs AI is the perfect solution to help you secure your edge ecosystem. Integration is quick and seamless. It's usually done in under a day's time. Our lightweight solution ensures that it will not impact your network's efficiency. And last, but certainly not least, we have a extremely accurate solution because of the AI-based algorithms that we employ, meaning that your teams can spend less time investigating false positives and more time responding to real problems. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, everyone. So I hope that you saw my demo, and that's pretty much it from my side. Let's see if we have some questions. I see that the list of questions is empty. Okay.
Oleg, I don't see a question, just a good comment saying it's a good session. Thank you for the compliment and thanks for the wonderful session.
Thank you for having me. And
There is a question
for you, Oleg.
There is a question. Will that be just detecting the incidents and logs for later monitoring, or block immediately such a DOS attack? You can just take a look at it in the Q&A by Jishnu.
Yeah, so the question, are you just detecting or block immediately such a kind of denial of service attack? Yeah, that's a good question. So today I represented on demo and on today's session mostly detection levels, but actually right now we support automatic prevention. For example, once we detect this attack, we can automatically provide some mitigation actions with help of security operation guy from the dashboard and deploy this policy directly on the edge. It actually looks like IP blocking list. For example, AI detected this very suspicious source of traffic or probably source of DDoS attack. And after permission of the operator, we can automatically deploy this prevention directly on the edge and deploy it like a prevention level. So that's also supported. Okay, I hope that I answered to your question.
Any other questions, you can just type it.
Yeah. So I think we're done, right? Once again, thank you for having me for this session. Thank you, Murali, for your presentation. It was very interesting. And nice, very nice.
Dr. Sriram, Harshit, Monica for their excellent coordination and initiative. We truly appreciate your support, guys. Okay.
Thank you very much, Murali and Oleg.
Thank you.
Thank you, Oliver. And thank you, Mr. Oleg Mygrin, for sharing your valuable thoughts with us today and shedding light on various subjects here.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you, Murali.
Bye-bye. Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. Nice talk.
Thank you.